Well, what's going on, good people? Hope all is well with everybody. All right, hope all is well with everybody. So, um, come in the room. Um, come in the room, if you will, and let's have a conversation. And I think it will be wholesome to you. Um, can we talk? And so, so say hello as you're coming in. And then I think it's going to be a very wholesome conversation. So, um, just going to have a talk with everybody, and as I communicate, talk to you, and everything. Let's see where we go from here. All right. Y'all normally know when I do Can We Talk, I may do more of a more practical conversation. Um, I mean, if the Bible comes out of me, it comes out of me. But if not, um, if not, just know that we're going to go there. So I hope everybody's doing well. How's everybody doing? Definitely want y'all to send your love, prayer, and support um, to Lady Janetta Gilliam, as well as um, to Johnny Campbell, to all of his siblings, due to the passing of, Joshua Campbell. And so I want you to definitely keep them in your prayers, whether you know them or not. Just pray for that family who had a brother, a son, grandson, a father, uh, excuse me, who transitioned. All right. So let me get into this conversation because I think it's going to be very interesting, and especially with the topic that I am presenting. All right. Especially with the topic um, that I am presenting tonight. So I just want to get into it, and then we'll go from there. All right. Um, Interesting topic. And normally when it comes to the new year, whatever, most people are doing their resolutions. This is what I plan to do this year. This is what I desire to do this year. um this is what I want to do. I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to I'm going to eat less of this, more of this. um you said you can't hear me. All right, excuse me, y'all. I'm trying to see what's going on over here in Instagram. You can't hear me? Hold on, y'all. I'm on Instagram trying to say somebody said they can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Somebody called me, so I don't know if that messed up my connection. Y'all pardon me on the other connections. All right, let me see. Let me type something in because he said he can't hear me. Hold on, I may have to come out to come back in. Okay, so he's going to go and rejoin, and I'm gonna see on Instagram if I can be heard. Bear with me real quickly because I want to see if I need to go off to come back on. All right. Say hello over here. Um, Say hello as you all are coming in on Facebook and all of that. Trying to see. Okay, so he still can't hear. All right, so let me go out and come back in on Instagram. I don't know what's going on. Hold on, y'all. Bear with me. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me see what's going on. All right, hold on, y'all. I'll fix this in a few moments. I've never had that happen before. Okay. Let me try it again. See what happens. Y'all doing all right? And nobody's. Oh, I didn't look at the comments. Okay. All right. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, let me see. That was kind of weird. I never had nobody tell me that before. All right. So I'm trying to see right now. So bear with me. And I'm going to see. All right. Okay, so you can hear me now. Okay, cool. All right. Wonderful. I'm glad you can hear me. All right. So let me continue on what I was saying. So, like I said, there are some people who have resolved to do certain things. They've made decisions to do certain things. And, oh, I'm going to do this year. I'm not going to do this year. All of this, right? So, what ended up happening is I think what we failed to come to the recognition of is simply some decision we have to make. And so I may mention some scripture tonight, I may not, but I'm gonna go in a very practical way. And I'm learning that there's an audience I'm going after as well. That may not necessarily be in the church, but they know where I stand as far as my belief systems are concerned. So let me just talk about something tonight. And yeah, all right. Kylan left, so I hope that just I don't see him on live. Hopefully, that means he can still hear me. So I want to talk about this, and I think it may rub somebody the wrong way because they don't understand this title. But I want to talk about cherish who's there, bury who's not. That's the focus tonight. Cherish who's there, bury who's not. Now, I think what happens a lot of times is, if you are the type of person who's like a people person, um, you value, when I talk about cherish, that means you value relationships. That means you value connections. That means there is a sense of appreciation. You esteem. When you cherish something, you esteem it. When you cherish something or someone, you put a high value upon it. You treat it, if you will, with the utmost respect. You deal with it with the utmost concern. You want to make sure it's protected. You want to make sure it's shielded. You want to make sure it's covered. You just want to make sure. You feel me? You want to make sure of these things. So I think there comes a point in time where we really got to cherish who's there and bury who's not. Now, this can we talk. I shared with you all not too long ago, that my boy, and I haven't talked to him in a minute. I gotta just call him to say what's up. Orlando Hill. Oh, I feel like a sneeze is coming, y'all. Ooh, ooh, goodness. I feel like a sneeze is coming. Um, all right, that would have been funny. All right. And said what my greatest strength and my greatest weakness is my heart. And I was talking and I was doing my walk today, and I was talking to Andre, and I was sharing some things with him as I was walking. And one of the things I was sharing with him is, and I want to keep my conversation in context right now. And so one of the things I was sharing with him is, I'm very careful when I say this, when I get ready to say what I'm getting ready to say. And that is the fact that, there are some people you've been in their lives, and they've been in your lives. And then all of a sudden, when they start getting caught up, if you will, in their way of doing things in their life, looks like all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? You no longer become as essential. You're no longer important, or you're not as important. And, sometimes, the relationship is what it is. And what happens is, there are some people, that only want you around when it's convenient for them. Did y'all hear what I said? Now, no matter how inconvenient you are, you know, um, you'll stay there and you'll be there from whoever. But sometimes people have you in their life for convenience, and being in your life for convenience, it becomes a challenge. You feel me? It becomes a very interesting sense of feelings that come on you, and you be sitting up here like, is this really is this really what's going on in my life? Like, real talk. Like, what? So I was telling him about somebody, and I was saying this person, and I've had this conversation more than enough. And I think I'm a very tolerable person. I think I try to live up to an expression that says, bear one another, or forbear. I think for the most part, I try my best, you know what I'm saying, to kind of be in that type of flow. I try my best to kind of stay in that mindset. You know what I'm saying? I do. I try my best to do that. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. And so what I want us to come to the grips of, really come to the place of understanding, is that you got to learn how to cherish who's there and bury who's not. Some relationships are like, you need to lay them to rest. I know that's kind of rough right now, but there's some relationships you got to lay to rest. You know what? You got to lay them to rest. There's no CPR you can do for this. There's no defibrillator you can push. There's nothing. Charge at 250. Some situations you have to learn how to lay to rest after you have exhausted yourself. You know what I'm saying? After you have done everything within your strength and power, there are some situations that you have to lay to rest. You have to bury those relationships that are no longer beneficial. They're no longer advantageous. They're no longer pushing you to the place of success. They're not pushing you to the place where, let me tell you something. In relationships right now, and I'm not speaking of marital relationships right now, I'm a firm believer. Let me just throw that out there. I'm a firm believer that you should do everything within your strength and power to maintain your relationship. Neither am I saying, if you and your parent is clashing, or you and your child is clashing, just be like, I don't care, it's whatever. I think you should work it out. But I think there are moments and times that there's some things you need to just lay to rest. You have to put them to sleep, so to speak. You have to do a CM Punk on the situation. You got to lay situations to rest, because if it is causing conflict, if it is causing you grief, if it is causing you, turmoil, if it is making you feel some type of way, if it is causing you to be like, whatever, and you're frustrated and you're angry, and you start getting this sick feeling whenever you hear that person's name, you know what I'm saying? Or, there's some relationships, there's some relationships you have to lay to rest. You have to say, okay, I have to come to the grip that this season, maybe this is over. Maybe I don't need to be invested in this. Maybe it's no longer, because let me tell you something, just like in a marriage, just like in friendships, it takes two to tango. It takes communication. And when you are a type of person, and if one person is trying, I'm one of those that would try. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm saying to you, once you have done everything within your strength and power to try to resolve the situation, you try to fix the situation, you've done everything. You've emailed, you've texted, you've prayed, you've meditated, you've done everything. You've done everything within your strength and power to try to get this person to have dialogue, to try to communicate. You've done everything within your strength and power to try to get some type of resolve. You feel me? And then it seems like it's not there, or not even that the seem to be not there is not there. So when you keep exerting energy, you keep, and I don't speak of energy like these they say now, but when I say energy, you're exerting strength into something that is in opposition. You keep exhausting yourself. Let me say something to you. You cannot be in a friendship relationship with somebody, and every time you leave, you feel exhausted. Your relationship should not make you feel drained. Your relationships should not make you feel depleted. Oh, here we go. If you have to hide your friendship, if you have to hide your relationship, I'm not talking about, your relationship is unethical, it's immoral, it's inappropriate, it's illegal. I'm not talking about stuff like that, but you got to hide your friendship, your relationship, Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes, there are people, because of their background, you got certain people that are Muslims. I remember years ago, Bishop Clarence McClendon, there was a person who came from another country, a strict Muslim country, who heard his message, came over and wanted to hear him. And, she was talking, and they wanted to share her, why she was there. And long story short, because she happened to be, I think she was the daughter of one of the leaders there. And they knew that if her face would have been seen, they even tried to do something to try to distort her voice so that if so happened somebody heard her, she would not lose her life. Now, I'm saying that to say that there may be some occasions where you might have to, your relationship may have to be hidden, but I'm talking about if it's putting somebody in danger. I'm not talking about if it's putting somebody in danger. I'm talking about your relationship is secretive. Don't nobody know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a relationship with a man, you're in a relationship with a woman, and you as a man saying to that woman, like, yo, what's up? Oh, I don't want to be known. I don't want nobody in our business, right? Now, I always tell people, I think there's a big major difference between private and secret. All right. There's a big major difference between being private and secret. You never want your relationship to be secret, but you want it to be private, right? There are certain accounts on Instagram, like I know for Instagram, Twitter. If you're trying to connect to somebody, there'll be something that says these tweets are protected. So you don't have access to certain tweets unless you as an individual want insight to the person. You got to send this person, if you're interested in communicating with them for whatever the reason you may want to communicate. Facebook tells you, if you want to follow a person, they'll tell you this account is private. It does not, now some people's privacy, they don't want you to have access to some of the things that they're doing. Whether it is wholesome things, whether it's helpful things, or even harmful things. But it is. But the point being, it's private. Now, it's not secretive, because if it was secretive, when it's a secret, you don't want anybody to know. When it's private, only a certain classification of people want to know. So I have a problem with people having private relationships. I think the challenge for me is when it's secretive. What's the secret about? And so what I'm saying is, there comes a point you have to cherish who's there. Cherish the one who is there. Cherish the one that is consistent. Cherish the one who is there when you need them, as you are there for them. Type or there. Cherish those type of relationships, and be appreciative of those relationships. I was sharing with someone, you don't need a whole bunch of people in your life. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people think you need a whole plethora of people. You need a whole compilation of people. You need a whole class of people. No, you don't need a whole bunch of people in your life. If you just have if you have a faithful few, if you have just a selective few that's in your corner. And when I say in your corner, not in your corner that's trying to lead you into foolishness, lead you into craziness, lead you into inappropriate activities, lead you into environments that will be more detrimental for you than helpful for you. And so there comes a time, you got to bury who's not. One of the things, as I was telling you earlier, I was talking to my son about, is just like there's a particular person specifically in my mind. And it was like, okay, we've had this conversation before. We've discussed this before. So since we've discussed this before, and it does appear that you are still doing it, I'm one of those that once I've said it more than once on a situation, and I've tried. You know what I'm saying? I'm a person that will keep going and keep going to try to make situations work. But then when I start coming to the knowledge that you as an individual more or less only look at me as convenient, then what I've learned is, allow people to be who they want to be in your life. And then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So this part of the relationship, I'm going to put away. Right? That you see what I'm saying? This part of the relationship, I'm gonna put away. What do you mean? That means let people be who they want to be in your life, and not who you want them to be in their life. And there are some people I've dealt with. They've not had somebody in their life. Consistency was wearing them out. They couldn't understand. They was like, oh my God, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to somebody being consistent. It's just weird. Sometimes the dynamics, because their father wasn't there, their parent, mother or father wasn't there. They was in a relationship and it didn't last long enough. They had friendship that didn't last enough. They was in romantic relationships that didn't last long enough, and they wasn't used to consistency. They wasn't used to somebody being concerned about them. They weren't used to that. And so sometimes, people, resist certain things because they're not used to it. There are people because, okay, I've never had a male figure in my life that was consistent, that was concerned about my thoughts, concerned about me, want to make sure I'm doing well. I didn't know. So it's like I wasn't used to that. So some people will have you on a probational period because they're not used to having that. There are people who have, there are people, parents that are alive but dead. What do you mean by that? Physically, they're alive, but they're not as active. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'll just be open with you because this is Can We Talk. I'm one of those, you can make an attempt to do certain things and you keep trying and trying and trying and trying, and then say what you want to, but humanly, you get worn out, you get tired, you get frustrated. Like, I'm sick of trying this out. Why am I keep trying this? Why am I going to keep trying? There's nothing happening. Not an inch, like an inkling, and so you keep pushing, because my mindset is I don't ever want nobody to feel rejected. I don't want nobody to ever feel, neglected. I don't want nobody ever to feel like they don't have nobody in their corner. But then when you're in the corner and it just seems, you feel me, it just seems like, it just seems kind of crazy. And so going back to the situation, so I made a decision, and I told the person, hey, this ain't been happening in a cool minute. This haven't been happening a cool minute. And they was like, well, what you mean? Like, my thing was, I'm not going to keep repeating because we just had this conversation, right? We had this conversation, just be consistent. That's all. You don't have to be consistent like me, but be consistent in certain things. I mean, there are people, that have issues sometimes with me. Oh, you didn't text me back. Oh, you text me back in like 3 weeks. You text me back in like 2 weeks. So there are things I'm like, okay, let me improve in this aspect. You see what I'm saying? But then, I'm so used to people being there, for others, in the sense that when someone says to me, hey, let's do this, it's difficult, because I'm used to the one being the receiver of giving, rather, uh, what attention, giving advice, then versus the one that's on the other side of somebody just reaching out and just saying, hey, what's up, how you doing, all of that. And so I'm saying, Cherish who's there. Cherish the one who's there. It hurts when, let me talk to you. If you're a younger person, it hurts that you're in a family and your family is rejecting you. It hurts when you're in a family and it seems like the family members don't care anything about you. And then now you're struggling because it's like, oh my God, who's going to love me? Who's going to be concerned about me? Who's concerned about my well-being? And then you find somebody, especially talking to young people, you find somebody who is there. You find somebody that's there, and then they struggle because it's like, well, why would you care about me? There's a student at my job that says that. Why are you caring about me? What do you care about what I think? What are you caring about how I feel? What are you caring about that when there's people in my household that don't care, anything about me? So then you have to show them, well, this is why I care. And you be consistent about it. So now what happens is when they are down in the dumps, I had that same student come tell me, I was going to do X, Y, and Z, but I thought about you. And I thought about, man, how would he feel about this? Y'all feel me? How would he feel about this? So sometimes people, have difficulty, and so if you got somebody in your life that's concerned about you, you know what I'm saying? That's concerned about you, and I get it. It's hurtful. The people you expect to be there for you, the people you expect to be in your corner, and they're not in your corner. They're not supportive. They're not there. And it's like, it sucks. It's like, it's disappointing. It's irritating. You start feeling rejected. You start feeling neglected. You start feeling, unwanted, undesired. All these things start coming on you, and you just feel like a nobody. But can I encourage you to tell you, hey, if you got somebody else outside of you, look at that as my brother would say, look at it as a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying? That they don't want you. Like, I'm tell you one of the joys I get. One of the joys I get, because whether they're male or female, and I'm in their lives, and they look at me as an uncle, they look at me as a father figure, whatever. I never have told any child, I'm going to replace your daddy. I'm going to replace your dad. I'm going to replace that whoever. I've dealt with a situation where a young man, I was somewhere, and this is years ago. I was somewhere, and they were saying, and I haven't been in this young man's life that long. And I was at something that they was having for him at the time where he was going to this particular school, and they was giving out gifts and cards and flowers and all of that. And they said, well, go give it to the person, that you really admire. And lo and behold, it shocked the daylights out of me. My head was down. I was doing something on my phone, and I saw him go give it to his mom and his uncles and stuff, and uncle and auntie and other people were there, right? So I saw him go give it to his mom. I started looking at my phone, because I was just there to support him. Lo and behold, I was way in the back. He comes way in the back and gives me like 2 or 3 flowers and said, thank you for being there for me, right? Now, I only been there a short span of time, right? I only been there a short span of time, but at the same time, then later on that night, the uncle started looking at me kind of sideways, and the connection we once had begin to drift, and it didn't drift until that night, and I was like, oh wow, like I had no clue, whatsoever that this particular young man looked at me in that light. Um, it shocked the daylights out of me, like literally. I think at that time that person was maybe like 8 or 9, maybe 10, and it shocked the daylights out of me. Now, I didn't go in the relationship to try to overtake anybody, but that was an impact. See what I'm saying? So you never know what your impact is going to do in somebody's life. You never know what you're saving somebody from. You never know what's going on. There are some young men from my job, who has allowed us to have some type of communication outside of school. And one in particular, I was like very concerned about this particular individual, and I was very, very concerned. And um, that person's cousin reached out and said, "Hey, Mr. D, this is what's going on." So I reached out to the person. Person kind of resisted, but then because I was consistent, and it was almost like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So here I am, here, Cherish, who's there. Here I am, got other people who I've been in their life for years. And it's like, whatever. And this person is like, man, how wrong am I to this? What's the word? How wrong am I to reject what you're trying to give out to me when you don't have to? And then it's like, I appreciate it. One of the things I said, I appreciate you allowing me to have communication with you outside of the job. And it was like, no, I appreciate you for taking the time. See what I'm saying? You gotta cherish who's there and bury who's not. You really have to, and I know me, because I care about people a lot. So my mind is I gotta make them dead to me. And that sounds ruthless to some people, but that's how I not dismiss. That's how I pull down my feelings, right? Because it's okay, I gotta treat them like they're not even alive. Now, somebody go, "Ooh, that's ruthless." Well, to an outsider looking in, it's very ruthless. I think it's not very ruthless, but that's what I have to do. Sometimes, like, okay, I gotta treat them like they're dead. Like in my mind, when I see them, I don't treat them as trash. But what I do is, so the relationship. Because let me tell y'all something. Most people a lot of people are grieving. Listen to this. They're grieving over the physical absence of a person. But there are some people who are grieving, hear me well, over the physical absence of a person who's still alive. I just said something right there. They are melting. They are dying on the inside because of the absence of someone that is physically alive. They've lost a relationship. They've lost a connection. And one of the greatest pains, okay, one of the greatest pains in the world, hear me well, one of the greatest pains in the world is for somebody to drop you and you have no reason, you have no understanding, you have no understanding of what happened. It's just like, man, what happened? You know what I'm saying? And God forbid if it's based upon somebody else. You don't talk to somebody because other people stop talking to you. It's like, what is that person? I've had people talk to me about that, about other people. I've had that happen to me. And I was like, well, what I got to do with them? Or what does that person have to do with the situation? There are people, unless they have conversation with me, they would never know that I'm not close to certain people unless you have that conversation or unless you come up, and then sometimes you're still not going to know. You know what I'm saying? That I'm telling you, there's some conversations you're still not going to know. You're going to be like, what? I thought y'all was cool. I'm cool, but we're not cool as we used to be. All right. Jalen called that a protection mechanism. Well, I don't know. Is that the psychological term for it? I don't look at it as a protective thing. For me, I just look at it as, if you're talking about the statement that I made, I don't look at it as more or less a protection thing for me. Because if I was on protection level, I wouldn't keep doing what I do. I wouldn't keep doing it. But my mindset is, okay, I'm not going to allow myself to overextend. And so, all right, so when I said they're dead to me, not in a harsh manner. Like I said, you have to really know me to know when I say that. Because here's the deal. I would rather hear this how I flow. I would rather the person be dead to me than me to shut down. So there's a difference, because if you're dead to me versus me shutting down, it's two different things. And you say, well, how you figure? Because when you're dead to me, that's me pulling, not allowing what I feel emotionally to drive me back into the connection. But shutting down for me is, oh, I'm done. Like, I'm completely over it. Because let me tell you, when you think about it, and I'm gonna throw a scripture on you, or the principle of dead. When you talk about things that are dead, like when there's a scripture that talks about let the dead bury the dead. When you talk about the dead, you're talking about not allowing things have no longer influence over you. It's dead to me, being dead to the law, being dead to sin. I'm not going to allow it to have that type of influence or control over me. That's where I go with being dead. Did that make sense? And so versus shutting down, because for my friend left this earth last year. Let me tell you, let me tell you, him, Ree, and Desmond. Nope, you can't do that. They know what it means when I say I'm shutting down. They know exactly what that means. And when I shut down, it's going to take the Holy Spirit, angels, dreams, visions, the whole nine to bring me up out of that mindset. Because when I shut down, I shut down. And I'm done and I'm done. And so, if I say I'm done, I'm done. Like, and I do my best not to um come off, as mean. But when I say I'm done, oh, I'm done. Like, trust me. It's like, okay, I'm gonna shut down. One of the things I was sharing, I'm a type of person that asks questions. Some people don't like when I ask questions. Some people do like when I ask questions. It's never for me. It's never been. Though people think they can say that, but it's never been for me. Like, you can say something to me and I'll ask questions. It's not the fact necessarily that you didn't answer it. I don't say necessarily. It's not that you didn't answer it. It's the fact that I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding. And I'm the type of person, if I don't get the understanding, then I won't ask. And then I won't say anything. Then what happens is that people say, well, why didn't you say anything? Because if I ask questions, then I'm going to be, somebody, you're going to say something crazy. You're going to say, why you keep asking all those questions? So then if I can't ask questions for clarity's sake and try to make sure I'm understanding. And so my questioning for some people becomes, now there are times, I ask questions to provoke people to thought, to thinking. You know what I'm saying? But there are other times, like when majority of the time, if I'm asking, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. What do you mean by that? Why did you say it that way? How did you come up with that? And then they'll answer. And I'm like, well, why did you? Okay, ain't no other way I can explain it. I've had that said to me. Okay, all right. And so then what happens is I won't ask. That's just me. So to me, that becomes not a dead to me. That becomes a shutdown. And so it's like, what is the purpose of me saying it? So here it is. So I begin to bury that. You see what I'm saying? That begins to go into the ground of dismissal. That goes into the ground. So that's ashes to ashes and dust to dust. That's okay. I shut down. So it's over. It's inoperative. It's not working. It's like a vehicle that no longer has the ability to be operative. It's shut down. You can't fix it anymore. There's nothing else you can do. You got to get you a new car type ordeal. That's shut down for me. Dead to me is just, okay, it is what it is. Ain't nothing else I can do about the situation. So I want you to know, if you got somebody in your life that's there, you don't need a whole lot of people, but cherish the one who's there. Cherish, appreciate, the one who's there. And then let me say something to you all. Maybe this will be another conversation. You can't spend time always talking about what a person doesn't do. um, express to the person what they mean to you. You know what I'm saying? The worst type of thing you can ever do is somebody says something to you, and then your response is, "Well, I wonder." So then the person starts feeling like, "Well, shoot, should I say anything? Should I even express myself?" You know what I'm saying? And it's amazing because the frustration thing about that, not just me personally, and then people I talk to, one of the most frustrating things about that is, you mean what you say, but because to them the actions are not matching the words, right? But then some people tend to not pay attention to their actions, but they say the exact same thing. You see what I'm saying? You got people that will celebrate you in public, but dog you out privately. You got people who will talk about you. Let's flip it. You got people who will celebrate you privately, but won't say it publicly. The external presence is they're not in agreement with you, but at home, oh, I do care about you, oh, I do love you, oh, I do think you're the best at this. I think, but when you step out public, you're not recognized. They see the tension, they see the what's the word? That they see the inconsistencies. But then you got those who talk about, oh, how wonderful you are in public, and oh, you're this and you're that, and then at home, you're trash, you're nothing. You're a nobody. And I believe for me, one of the greatest challenges I had and have, all right, hear me well. One of the greatest challenges I have and had is the pedestal that sometimes people put me on. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not speaking this from, that thing about, I'm human. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm saying the pedestal that, if I do something, oh, it's like the unforgivable sin. It's like the seven deadly sins plus and one. See what I'm saying? When certain people, when you do certain things, it's like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, I can you of all people, and I get it because sometimes the way we present ourselves, or because of how we are. To be honest with you, I get it why some people look at some of us in a certain way because of how we carry ourselves. But my thing is, if that person, why is it that you can fall, make a mistake, do the wrong, do the shady, and then want somebody to, what's the word, honor you, and then when somebody else does the same thing you did, you just treat them like they didn't kill somebody, right? So, just cherish who's there, but bury who's not. If you can resolve a situation, resolve it. If it can be reconciled, if it can't, you know what I'm saying? You know, um, and I feel like this. Hmm, you know, I think I don't know why I'm going here, but I think when it comes to, let's say, relationships, um, I think if I'm in a friendship with somebody, I don't necessarily have to. Well, how can I say this? Because I think I want to say. Can we talk? Let me just be me. I think when it comes to friendships, I think it is wrong for a friend to want another person to be a part of something that they're wholeheartedly against because of their friendship. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. Um, but I think it's an issue. I think it's a challenge, to try to make somebody be somewhere in the name of friendship, somewhere that they wholeheartedly don't. That if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I don't want to be a part of that. I don't know if that makes sense to you now. I don't want to. I don't want no connection with that. And I get it. There are some relationships, friends be like, I don't know that she's good for you. Oh, I don't know if he's good for her, type ordeal. I don't know if she's right for you. I don't know if he's right for you, type ordeal. Maybe you need to reconsider. You know what I'm saying? And going back to what I said earlier, I think if keep your relationship secret from your friends, that you know that you're friends, I think that's a major problem. Just me and my personal thoughts on it on Can We Talk. Um, but I think, that there's certain things, and I said I'll never do it again, and I haven't done it since. I remember someone was like, you're not coming. I'm not coming to that wedding. Don't want to be a part of that wedding. Have no desire to be in it. I don't want to be there. And it was like, please, and begged. And I didn't want to be there. And it was like, because you always said if you don't come to something, it's because you feel the Lord has told you. Well, I don't have to. I'm not marrying her. I'm not marrying him. See what I'm saying? I'm not going to marry a couple that I really don't feel need to be married. Like, if it's really out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've dealt with situations where I was like, I don't know that y'all should get married. And then, oh, please, Loughridge, we da-da-da-da. I don't know. Because marriage ain't going to solve this issue. Marriage is not going to resolve this. So I don't know, and then in when I do some of the ceremonies I do, I try to speak directly to them. So I reminded them of our conversation. Of course, later on in the marriage, the situation that I didn't want did happen, type ordeal. And then to the person I was talking about, that relationship didn't matter. The person, it didn't last. It didn't last long. And it was like, oh, I should have listened to you. What about listening to you? I should listen to myself, and I showed up, because I felt uncomfortable. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it again. Just not going to. I'm not doing that again. And I didn't, and I won't do it again. Joke. Some of y'all may not look at it as a joke. That's why when people be talking to me about people, would you go to somebody that you in your family or a friend who's in the same sex relationship? I said, I don't even go to a lot of these heterosexual weddings. So why would I go to some of these same sex relationships? And let me tell you, there's some of these same sex relationships, that their relationships look a little bit more solid than some of these heterosexual relationships. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. You feel what I'm saying? And I think we need to look at that. So once again, you cherish who's there, and you bury who's not. You cherish what's there, and then you bury what's not. You don't let it overwhelm you. You don't let it overtake you. You don't let it mess you all the way up. So I think when it comes to certain things, I think that's where, you need to be. And I think we need to have conversation, especially if the relationship was started in mess. If it's, that's a whole nother conversation right there. But if it started in mess, if it started shady, you want me to come celebrate your marriage, but I know the girl that you're getting with, the dude that you're getting married to, cheated with you while he was with. I can't have no part in that. And you church folks make me sick, because y'all be like, God is a forgiving God. And yes, he is a forgiving God. But you with your shady self, instead of just breaking up the relationship and going with homegirl, breaking up the relationship and going with homegirl. You see what I'm saying? Would have been better. But no, you cheated. You was having private conversations. Some of y'all done had sex with them, and then you had babies out of the situation. And so then you want somebody to come to your celebration. Absolutely not. What am I coming to that for? What am I coming to that for? Why am I coming to the wedding when I know you like dudes? You told me that, so why am I coming there? But because you want to save your church face. You like females, and you're a female, but you about to marry them because this is what the mother of the church wants you to do, because baby, it is right. I'm not coming to that. I'm not about to do it. No. Well, wouldn't it be better? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think they got a new name for that. Mixed orientation marriage. I think that's what they call it. I think it's some new term I found. Mixed orientation marriage, which means that you're heterosexual, that person is part of the LGBT. So you only doing it because you got a Christian belief system. You really don't want to be in the relationship. So it's called a mixed marriage or mixed marriage orientation, something like that. I can't remember the right term right now, something to that. But that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That it's crazy. It's crazy. And so now you got two people talking about, well, let's just be single. Have some holy sexuality. Holy sexuality. You see what I'm saying? You see, my thing fell. You know what I'm saying? I just, I don't know why I went there, but I'm just saying it's and if you did some shady stuff. One of the greatest, as I close here, anybody got any questions, please feel free to ask questions while I'm talking. I'm going to break it off. One of the greatest examples, analogies I've ever seen is when on the Cosby Show, when Vanessa brought her boyfriend home and she brought him home in a messy way. And one of the greatest examples in that particular episode is when I think it was either Cliff Huxtable or Claire. And there was like steak and vegetables and stuff on a plate. And then he put that plate on a trash can lid and brought it to the person and says, "Our problem is not you." Watch this. Our problem is not you. Said the problem is, you see this? What's on the trash can? Is anything wrong with the trash can? I mean, what's on the plate? Absolutely not. It's good looking food, right? He was like, yes. He said, but what is it on the trash can? It's not on a regular tray. It's on a trash can. And the whole analogy is the presentation was trashy. The presentation was trashy. So what you brought to me was trashy. The presentation, not who it is, but how it's presented. And there are some people who want people to accept their presentation. And nobody is obligated to accept the presentation. Your presentation is what caused the conflict. Your presentation is what done it. Now, maybe what was presented could have been better, but how you presented the situation, how you brought the whole situation. Woo! Change it. Your presentation is what sucks. Maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow. Your presentation sucks. The problem is the presentation. Not the actual food, the presentation. You might be the best person in the world, but look how you was presented. And here it is. And look how you wanted to be presented. Who wants to be presented? Come on, woman. Come on, man. Who wants to be presented as the side chick, the side piece? Something is wrong with you when you feel within yourself that you want to be a trophy. You want to be something that is celebrated as some type of show and tell to make that person look good, to make them feel appreciated. No, absolutely not. So, all right. Anyway, I'm done. So, cherish who's there, bury who's not. It's not a lot of people, but if you got a few, just be appreciative. I'm the type of person I believe you need some older people in your life. You need some younger people in your life. Why? Because it keeps you balanced. All right, any comments or questions before I go? Any questions, comments, agreements, disagreements? I'll wait. All right. Hey, Leandra, how you doing? How's the baby coming along? I think I text all of you all, but just let me know how the baby is coming along. Anthony's baby and his wife's baby. There's another topic I can do tomorrow too. I'm looking at, does that work on Facebook too? Let me see. Okay. Okay, so I see it only works only on YouTube. I'm looking at I'm looking at two things. There's one that says put user in timeout, and that says block user. Woo! Okay, that's a good topic right there. That's a good topic. I ain't gonna get into that. All right. All right, I'm done. All right. He's doing okay. All right, let's see. He's doing much better. Aiden is out of the cast on his legs and even taking steps when guided. Beautiful. Okay, I'm glad he's doing good. I'm glad he's doing better. I'm glad he's doing better. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm done. Believe it or not, I am done since there are no questions or not. And yeah, definitely going to keep praying for Aiden and the parents, because yeah, the one of the worst things in the world, um, one of the worst things in the world, one of the worst things in the world is to see your child in a way, and then nothing you can do to protect them. You know what I mean? So, all right, you watch them suffering, and you can't do anything about it. So I definitely keep them in my prayers. All right, everybody. All right. Feel free. Um, you ever have some topics of you want me to try to address? Just on Can We Talk? Or from a ministry of the table type deal, and you want me to discuss some things, or Lawful, can you talk about this? If I have knowledge on it, I'll discuss it. If I don't have knowledge on it, I'll look into it, and it can be a future conversation. And if you're the one that specifically requested it, I'll tell you, hey, I'm getting ready to address your concern in the broadcast tonight. Yeah. All right. All right, y'all. Remember, please, I'm asking you to keep in prayer the Campbell family as a whole. Keep his mom, Janetta, Joshua, who passed. Keep his mom, his dad, to Johnny, his siblings in prayer. Everybody that genuinely loved this young man. Just pray that God would carry them through this season for the rest of their life. All right. Pray for the daughter who now has no father. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. All right. And I don't want to be a liar. So, Jalen, if you're still on, let me know, because I know you in different time zone. Let me know, the best time in the day for you. Cause I forget I think you in a 2 hour zone, a 2 hour ahead of zone. So I think I text you. If I didn't, I'm gonna text you, and I'll just text you and say, let me know the best time to communicate with you. All right, y'all. I'm gonna do what I do. Much prayer, much power, little prayer, little power, no prayer, no power. Go with God, and He will go with you. And I believe God. Good night, everybody.